Hello, lovely listeners. Actually, in case you can't hear, I've got a bit of a croaky throat at the moment, even though it's, August, summer here in the UK. It is definitely raining outside. We had like 3 weeks of sun. I was like, summer, yay! And then forgot where I was for a minute. But all is back and right in the world here in sunny slash rainy Manchester. Um, Actually, this week is an exciting week because we have gone live with the Productive Weeks Challenge, which is like a week-long immersive experience where I'm hanging out with people, training, coaching, answering questions, teaching, learning, sharing, connecting. It's been a really amazing experience. So if you are listening to this at a later date, in fact, if this is the first ever episode you've listened to of mine, I'm just noticing I have a husky voice. This is not what I usually sound like. So be sure to dive into another episode. But more importantly, we are going to make that training accessible. That's at least the plan, right? Our plan is to, me and plans change, but our plan is to make it accessible. I'll leave the link in the show notes so that you can, if you are listening to this podcast at a later date, access it and get all the trainings on demand and dive right in and create your most productive week with everything that you need already raring to go on demand. We had an amazing first session. We got incredible feedback with people sharing that they were feeling powerful and they were feeling more productive, and they already knew exactly what they needed to work on, exactly what they needed to focus on, exactly what they needed to prioritize. They knew about the obstacles. Today we have the live call where I will be coaching and talking through obstacles live. This is going to be an amazing call. I cannot let your brain underestimate the value of learning that is available when you watch other people get coached on the things that are happening inside your brain. Your brain might tell you that you're different, that you're unique, and you are uniquely wonderful, but also our brains evolved and socialized in very similar conditions. And so it's not a surprise that so many of us struggle to be productive. It's not a surprise that so many of us have, 73 tabs open and too many things going on and keep putting certain things off and keep finding time for other things. Like that, it is not unique to you. It is the brain and the brain's evolution. And a lot of it makes sense and is very logical when you dive into time hacking. And a fun way, easy way to do that right now today would be to access the Productive Weeks replays. So I will leave the link in the show notes. All this to say, I was started speaking about the weather and my voice and illness, and that's because what I want to talk to today is surviving summer. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like summer has the best marketing campaign ever, where it's going to be just this amazing, fun, carefree, nobody gets sick, everybody's engaged and fun and outdoors and playing, and it's also easy and fun. Oh, I keep using the word fun, but so I noticed the marketing around summer and also the reality of summer. So you can hear this in my throat. My little one also has been sick the past 2 days and not sleeping super well. My partner also has been sick. This is literally in the last week. So we're out 3 for 3. But that's not all. I also have been in so many conversations with friends who have full-time jobs, friends and clients all over the world who have full-time jobs and suddenly, couldn't get their kids into some kind of daycare or camp or support over the summer, and are now juggling, working and having kids around and needing to entertain them, or wanting to entertain them even. But all this to say, the reality of summer is changes. It's different. There's different demands on your time. There's different expectations. There's different requirements. There's also different opportunities. And I just wanted to share a little episode for those of you that might be thinking, is it just me that is struggles over summer? That it is absolutely not just you. And I actually think the time hacking principles, that like, the volume needs to be turned up even more over summer if we're going to survive it, and not just survive it, but actually enjoy it, not because of, the marketing ads that and it tells us that it's going to be the best time of our lives, but because of how we take care of ourselves, as demands change, as different opportunities present themselves, as maybe things aren't predictable, like the weather. So I just wanted to create a little episode to give you some tips for surviving summer based off of time hacking principles principles. These are all based off of the principles and the tools that we teach inside our Time Hackers core program, or we come in and teach into organizations through workshops. And it's all, based off of exactly what our one-to-one coaches specialize in. So if you are feeling, by the way, a need for a little bit of helping hand this summer or this season, then you can always jump in for one-on-one coaching. We don't hold you into long subscriptions or anything like that. You can literally opt in 1 month, opt out the next month, whatever suits you. So just wanted to put that out there. I'll leave that link in the show notes as well. But if you are going to survive summer, the first thing that you have to do, get your pen and paper ready. Are you ready? The first thing that you have to do to survive summer is put down perfection. Put down the marketing image that has been played into your brain, this expectation that it's going to be this super easy time and everything's going to be better and everyone's going to be happier and we're not going to be human anymore. And I'm really inviting you to do this, not because you cannot have fun and joy and connection and time outside and all of those delicious things, but because it doesn't matter if you have, if you reach a 5 on the fun scale out of 10, but you expected a 10, you'll be disappointed. If you reach a 5 on the fun scale and you expected 1, you are going to be thrilled. Expectations are the thief of joy. I'm sure that's not a quote that I've just made up. I'm sure that it's something that I've heard before. You can look it up. I'm not going to. But expectations are the thief of joy. Seriously, wind down those expectations. I think so often it's like goals where we think, if I do not expect so big, then I will not achieve so big. But I know every single one of you has an example in your life of achieving something or creating something or enjoying something more than you thought you would, right? So we know that we don't need to always think the biggest in order to create the biggest. I want you to put down the perfection, the marketing images that keep you thinking it's not fun enough, it's not good enough, I'm not doing enough, this should look different. And instead invite you to really consider what you want it to look like for you. Like what's like kind of the minimum baseline? Like what is it that you really care about instead of having it all and doing it all and going to the farm one day and the beach the other and, the vacation the next week and every day sunny and getting outside for 2 hours strolls in the walk, whatever it is. Like what feels like the baseline summer that you would love to have? The baseline summer, right? We want to kind of shrink that image. And by the way, the reason we're shrinking the image, because you know me, I'm all for big goals, is because it's not your image, it's a marketing image. This is what I see so often is everyone's summer goals are the same because they're not their summer goals. They're the summer goals that you've been told to have. What you want to get really clear on is turning down the expectations based off of people that you probably don't even know, based off of what they're sharing on social media, and so that's step 1, and tune in instead to your desires. What do you want? What would make this week an amazing week for you, right? What's the one thing? You might end up doing the beach and the farm and the this and the that. Great. But what is it for you that you really want to make sure that you capture this week? I'm really encouraging you to create faster success here. I'm really encouraging you to enjoy what is happening for you right now and put down the mass market branding of summer. So turn down the expectation, turn up your own desire. Those are the first 2 steps. The third step, and by the way, within that, when you do that well, other things will happen naturally. You'll naturally say no to certain things that you don't want to do anyway, or you don't want to do at the expense of other things anyway, that aren't your priorities. And you'll naturally lean in and say yes to more things that you actually care about. So I could say, say no more and say yes more. But the fundamental why beneath it has to be solved, right? And the why beneath it is this expectation, this external expectation, and also this lack of listening to our internal desires. When you do those 2 things, the actions, the decisions, the behaviors become different. But we've not started with the behaviors. We've not started with the decisions. We've started with the core underlying issue. That is, by the way, the essence of time hacking. A lot of people will say, oh, like I know what to do, I'm just not doing it, right? I know I don't want to be checking emails at 9 p.m. at night, but yeah, I'm still checking them. I've switched my notifications off and I'm still going into my inbox. And I'm like, yeah, of course you are. Because you cannot just say to yourself, don't do this thing, and then expect yourself to not do it. There are mechanisms in place inside your brain that are going to want you to do the behavior. We want to solve for those mechanisms and then the behavior changes itself. That is time hacking, by the way. That is everything that we do with all of our clients is we solve for the root cause, and then it's so much easier. Like the behaviors just change themselves. Decisions change. Like it's so much easier that way. So those are the two things to focus on: turning down the external, up the internal, and then thinking about, and even you can even ask yourself right now, what else would change for you if you put down the external influence and picked up your internal? What would that look like for you? So yes, you'd say no to more things that you didn't want to do or didn't, want to prioritize. And yes, to more things that you did, but what else would happen? Would you be more present with the things that you were doing? Would you have more joy? Would you feel more calm and relaxed? Would you feel more connected to the people that you want to connect with and more disconnected to the people that you don't want to feel connected to? Or maybe people that, you don't want to be around, influences that you don't feel are nourishing to you. I'm actually going to leave it there because I think it's so easy to give more and more information. But I'm telling you, if you do these two things, you put down the expectation and you notice when your brain is going there and you just say, thanks, brain, but this is not mine. This is not mine. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm going to put it back down. You picked it up for me. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it back down and thank you. Notice how I'm not arguing with that brain. I'm not screaming. I'm not yelling. I'm staying in control and empowered. It's a very different way to do this work from. And the second is, okay, I'm going to just listen with myself. You can even grab a pen and paper and think about what are some ideas? At the end of this summer, at the end of this season, how am I measuring success? What am I grateful for? What have I enjoyed the most? What have I loved doing? Right? And that will be your guide into how you want to survive summer your way, and so that you can enjoy it. Right? So we want to put down this marketing idea that summer is perfect. We always want to put down the idea that anything is perfect, but in particular, summer perfect ideal, and instead create a summer that is good for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. There's going to be some links in the show notes to create productive weeks because you get to be productive in the middle of August while the kids are around, while, whatever's happened, while the house is being redone, while everything that we teach is not for the easiest time. It's not for the everything's quiet and I just get to focus. It actually is also super supportive when life is changing and evolving around you. That is time hacking. So I will leave the links in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope you create the summer that you want. That's always going to be the best summer for you to create. All right, that's it from me. Bye.